So if you saw the last video on the channel, you would have seen that I was going to make a holistic video about the Jim Rutherford comments on Sportsnet 650 yesterday. But I got a little bit sidetracked. There was a comment that Rutherford made that was, in a way, subtly throwing some shade towards Rick Tocchet's system, and I said I would have let it slide. I didn't necessarily want to make a full-fledged video about that, but when Rick Tocchet makes a comment about the practice facility today in Philadelphia and how it's so amazing and fantastic, I was like, okay, now we got two sides. Let's make that video. So that was the last video. This video is going over the rest of what Jim Rutherford said on the radio yesterday, because there were some really interesting thoughts that Rutherford had as a member of the Vancouver beat. He's been speaking a lot about stuff over the past few weeks here, and ultimately, this does give us a little bit of an idea as what the Vancouver Canucks are thinking about heading into this draft and off-season period. We're going to go over on to Noah Strang because I think he has the best transcriptions of the quotes, at least the interesting ones that I care about. Let's take a look at what Rutherford said yesterday on 650. We will be aggressive, he says about the Canucks this summer. If we can make a deal and do whatever we need to do and to improve our team, we're going to do it. Now, that is not surprising. Oh yeah, there's a trade to make that'll improve our team. We're not going to do it. No, they're going to do it. They're going to make trades. They're going to do the business they need to do in order to get better results on the team. But to hear Rutherford say that they're going to be aggressive about it, okay, that is interesting. They are going to really make things happen in the offseason. Hopefully we have a lot of things to talk about in videos. We're going to be in the free agent market if we still have cap space at that time, said Rutherford, but we may get our work done before then. Sounds like the Canucks are going to move quickly. That is interesting. Really interesting. So, Rutherford's talking about how Vancouver will use the extra cap space they have to get guys at the start of free agency, implying that there is work to be done before then. Okay. Interesting. Here is another comment posted by Taj. This is a little bit of a different one that was not posted on Noah Strang's Twitter. Rutherford said they aren't going to trade all their prospects and draft picks, but they will be open to all options to make the team better. So at the very least, there is some emphasis that the Canucks want to have on the youth. They don't want to go entirely just trading away every asset they have under the age of 22, which is reasonable, of course. But then you had yourselves another thought here that I wanted to talk about. This was also on Noah Strang's Twitter. Rutherford said the Canucks are going to be aggressive in trades this summer. How many of these assets will still be in the organization next October? Victor Mancini, D. Petey, Tom Willander, and whomever gets picked 15th overall. I'd be shocked if 4 of these assets remained. It could be just 2. And the interesting thing about this is, I understand where he's coming from. 15th overall pick, that is as good as gone. I don't think the Canucks are going to use that. They're probably going to trade it away. They're going to have some extra roster forwards or a center added onto their team in exchange for that draft pick. It's probably going to happen. But then, you think about these other defensemen, Mancini, DPD, Willander, 2 righties and a lefty. All of these guys are really young, but all these guys are good enough to potentially make an impact in the NHL right now. DPD and Mancini, we all saw them. I mean, DPD is very good as a young guy. Mancini is underrated, and he's doing some fantastic work in the AHL. Willander was awesome in college, and they finally signed the guy. There has been an idea floating around suggesting that Tom Willander could get traded too. I think it was mostly Matt Sakaris going out there and talking about it on Twitter, but it was like, hey, because there was such a big contract standoff with Willander, you could open the debate as to whether or not he could get moved, because now that he's signed, it's like, okay, there's no uncertainty there. He's not going to go back to college. We know this now. So now that he's cost-controlled, and now that he's under contract starting in 25-26, now you can trade him because there's security. Who knows, there may have already been some damage done to that relationship because of how long the contract took to sign. But DPD, Villander, Mancini, 3 young D-men all there. I'd say that it's tough to consider trading any of them when you think about just the guys that are rotating in and around this D-core. We don't know if Derek Forbort is coming back. We don't know if Tyler Myers still has more years in him. He's old, after all. Noah Juulsen's still around there. Who knows what's happening with him? If anything, these young guys need to fill in spots on the Vancouver Canucks blue line over the next few months here. So it's going to be difficult to justify trading any of them, but if the Canucks wanted to be aggressive in trades, they could flip a D-man because they have a surplus of good D-men for a forward. Let's go back over to some of the other tweets here talking about Vancouver things. Rutherford also spoke about Elias Pettersson and how he felt like Pettersson's physical issues are behind him and it shouldn't affect his summer training. Another tweet here by Taj. Rutherford admits that Pettersson was dealing with a couple of injuries last offseason and that impacted his training. And so now, that is it. That is the confirmation. The president of the team saying, yeah, he was hurt. After months and months and months of us hearing from the media, from the GM, from everybody involved that Pettersson was fine, up until Pettersson himself said that he got knee tendonitis, and then everybody was like, oh wait, what? Nah, what? He got tendonitis? Nah, man. The management said you're fine. Where's this coming from? Now Rutherford's like, yeah, he was hurt. He wasn't able to train properly. And that definitely fell into play as to how he started training camp last season and how things escalated with Miller. As Oliver Ekman-Larsson said all those years ago, when you don't have that off-season's worth of training and you're not able to train properly, you start behind the 8 ball. And Elias Pettersson started behind the 8 ball. Now, at the same time, I do kind of wonder, Pettersson had an injury, knee tendonitis, whatever it is, last summer. How long ago was it that he actually got that thing? Because one might point fingers and say the moment that Elias Pettersson stopped playing well was after the All-Star break in 23-24, a year ago. Once he had signed that big contract, that's when he started playing poorly. Is that when the knee tendonitis started out too? Because if he had the tendonitis in the summer, okay, he's not able to train, whatever, but you gotta remember, Elias Pettersson was starting to underperform around February, March of 2024, before the summer even began. The Canucks, it's kind of a miracle they made it that far into the playoffs without a good Elias Pettersson, but everybody else did step up in the amazing ways that they did, and Lindholm, Zadorov, Brock, JT, Quinn, and then of course Artur Shilovs. But with Elias Pettersson finally getting that confirmation from the president that, yeah, he was hurt. And now all of us fans who are listening to the radio are understanding now he was hurt. Does that change your perspective on how things played out for the Vancouver Canucks in 2024-2025? Now that we have the full confirmation on paper that Pettersson was not good enough because he was not healthy enough. Now that he's got those physical issues behind him, Rutherford's saying that Petey's going to be great again. So, do you believe that? Do you think it's going to come to fruition here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, firstly, about the Canucks' aggressive trade strategy, as well as some updates on Elias Pettersson here and his health. Rutherford gave us the scoop, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.